Last module, we cracked open the router and we realized that the internal structure of the router actually matters, and we call that structure the switching fabric. This is the internal highway piece of that router. This is what separates the small router from the carrier-grade enterprise-level monster that we might see in something like Amazon or ABM or even Microsoft. All right, there's traffic inside the box, and you need to understand that that traffic matters. That's where it goes through. It's not just sending traffic from point A to point B. It has to actually go through that processing power. Every packet that enters the router has to cross it internally, and crossing determines the throughput. You can have blazing fast ports on the outside, but the inside can't keep up. You've basically hit a wall. It's like having 6 lanes of traffic merging into a single lane on a bridge. You can't blame the cars, you have to blame the bridge. The internal pathways define that ceiling of the throughput. So one of the most simplistic designs is actually called a share bus. This is where all the ports connect to a single internal path and one packet moves at a time. It's straightforward, it's cheap, it's easy to implement, and it's about 30 or 40 years old. But as the traffic grows, everyone starts waiting their turn. It works fantastic in a low volume traffic environment, like, a house or a residential area. But as soon as it starts pushing some serious volume, enterprise environment, it's going to start sweating. And eventually the bus is just going to get saturated, and all at once it's full, and that's it. It doesn't work anymore. Now let's imagine instead of a single lane, you've got a grid, multiple packets moving at the same time across different internal paths. That's called crossbar switching, and it has parallel transfers. It's much higher throughput. It's like upgrading from a single checkout line to a whole self-checkout section. But nothing comes free. There's more hardware, more complexity, and especially more cost. Engineering is all about that balancing act between that cost, complexity, and hardware. Now, a different approach uses shared memory. This is where packets come in, they get written to the memory, and then they're read out to the correct port. It sounds elegant, it sounds futuristic, it sounds like what we're using today. However, performance depends on the memory bandwidth. If memory can't keep up, everything slows down. It's like using a single clipboard to organize thousands upon thousands of different tasks. It works great until it doesn't. Memory becomes the choke point in this type of routing environment. At some point, the input rate can exceed what the switching fabric can actually handle. Packets arrive faster than they could be moved internally. The queues form, throughput flattens, you've reached the router's physical capabilities. No software patch is going to be able to fix it, and no firmware updates are going to magically double the internal bandwidth. Now you're constrained by that hardware. So what do you do when your enterprise environment is suddenly overloaded with so much traffic that it can't even handle it? Well, you can upgrade it, and we can do that through parallelism, faster interconnects, dedicated switching ASICs. There's even custom silicon designed for one job, moving those packets absurdly fast. However, each upgrade comes with extra throughput. It also increases the cost and complexity. High-performance routers aren't just better programmed, they're serious pieces of engineering, but they've got a hefty price tag associated with it as well. A router's real power isn't just about how fast the ports are. It's about what's happening inside the box, internal movement, how packets travel through the router. That's what defines the true capacity of the machine. Think of it like this. You can have a huge front door, you can have a big dining room, you can have an amazing waiters and waitresses serving your food in your restaurant. But if the kitchen is tiny and chaotic, everything slows down. That kitchen inside the routing is the switching architecture. That's the switching fabric. And the fabric determines how far the router can scale. Some architectures are like modern commercial kitchens. They're clean, efficient, built to handle rush hour. Others, they're often like stressed out cooks with 3 pans and a prayer. They work fine until the traffic spikes. And when the bottlenecks show up, yeah. All right, here's the cool part. Once you understand switching fabric, you could start to seeing routers in a different light. You stop thinking, oh cool, 10 gig ports, and you're going to start looking at it and going, yeah, but can it actually handle the 10 gigs through the system? Some routers scale beautifully. Others hit invisible walls really, really quickly. And the scary part is that marketing pages rarely tell you what those walls are. Now, let's say a packet actually makes it through the switching fabric. It reaches the output port. You think we're done, right? No. Now the router has to decide who leaves first, because when multiple packets want to exit at the same time, somebody has to wait. And that decision process, that's where scheduling enters the picture. And trust me, scheduling is where routers start playing favorites. We're going to talk about that next.